Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. We are here now. Today is on 10th of July 2025. July of 2025. Am I clear? I'm really trying to set this sound here to be okay. Very nice. Very nice. We are finally here again. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Let me just know where you are. If you're watching this, let me just know in the chat. Let me just know. Just leave just in a comment. Good morning. At least a good morning in the chat below. Let me just know where you're watching this from. Are you ready for today's another episode? Finally, we are here. Finally again. Okay. Setting these things is actually not so simple. Sablon, good morning. How are you doing? Fiti kapisa. Salama kapisa. Yeah, a beautiful morning here. A very good morning here. Good morning. Elijah Kimani, all the way from Kirinyaga University. Good morning. Beautiful day. It is. A very beautiful morning. So USD JPY is actually on. Is actually on moving horizontal like this. What you I don't know. Nimekula nini asubuhi. The ranging between these prices, the prices seems that they are ranging this area here. There's a way to trend this. There is a way to trend a ranging market. Most of the time you have seen us trading the trend. There is also the way to trend the ranging market. So if you join this, ensure that the first thing that you do is you like this. I don't know why people join these without liking. I don't know. If you don't like this, if you don't like how we have been doing here, I don't know. Sijui hata nitakusaidia mna gani. Sijui tutasaidiana namna gani. So ensure that you like and to do that. As we are now checking on this market, there are a lot of things here tonight. All right. Now, yes. Elijah all the way from Mail. Good morning. Yup, we are here finally. The first thing actually, I'll be telling you what I just decided to do. Let's see something here. Yesterday, there's a signal that we gave out here about the gold, and I don't know, but we have been trading gold, and you have seen the simple analysis is, but there is what we normally see behind. But before even that, you can see here before even you talk about gold. For those who normally check, like you can see, it's actually on the this. It's actually even drawing itself like this one. This market is reaching here. This is USD JPY. It's just ranging in between this zone here, across this. So that is the range that we are getting from USD JPY. So anytime you see this, you actually have to determine like where is the market moving. Is it the end? Like for example, is this the end of the downtrend on the market was moving, or we are going to be getting this market actually moving up or breaking out from this area here. So there are a lot of things that you can actually consider right here, and specifically because of this region market here, and this is actually going to like accumulation phases here, then there's a lot of things that you really consider whether you are going to buy. But for this market that is region on the downside around this area here, then being an accumulation phase here, then you must consider when this price hits this lowest button here around 41.41, that becomes a very good spot for you now to place some buys from the market. Now we'll be coming back to the currencies. Now yesterday we end this signal here as going to signal here. I don't know whether it's signal or what, but what I know is that we end this market actually trying to move, and you see that was so perfect. It was very perfect that we started buying here, and there are some people was telling just buy from this zone here, and this was actually a buying zone when around this area for those who are joining this. But you can see this is a very big move that actually happened here. This is so big. This is big. This is bigger. So you can see this big move here that actually happened yesterday. We end another big move on how this market did on Monday. So that was another big move that we captured on Monday, and also yesterday that we really captured here on the gold. And remember, this is the zone I was talking about. So the prices are already here. So I'm going to see how these prices are going to react here, so that we can have market moving just to see whether we are going to get a reversal from that point. The price is right now is that 321, and but I think the price has already achieved like 28 across that area. So we'll be determined to see whether these prices are actually going to be moving probably higher or maybe down first from that. So that is what we checked from the gold. Remember, we achieved this from all the way to this point here. So that is what we are talking about, this zone here. So this zone was so significant. That's the name here. Very important zone here. So I'm going to delete this because we have already achieved that. There's something that I said yesterday, that in case this market actually does not, or maybe comes or crosses that, okay, or maybe comes here and start moving down, that was okay. But one thing that you see is that from yesterday, actually this market achieved this zone yesterday and almost in the morning hours, but you can see us actually just in between this. It's actually in between this, and that's crazy because that zone I actually drew yesterday. You can see it is very important, and that's why you see the market is actually raging at that zone. Is very important here. Now that means now, because we don't need an analysis, the next thing that you can do, because we analyzed yesterday market and is going to come hand in hand to today market analysis, then what you're going to do is observe some few candles here and to see how they are going to, how it is going to be happening. So I'm going to delete this TP here, last entry, because we already used that. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. I told you that the difficult thing is to say that this market is going to hit this And going back, that is the handless signal that you can ever give, because is like predicting the market. It's like analyzing the market in three ways, and it's the hardest part. But you can see already we got this one. Now we've been going details into these candles to see. I don't know whether you can see. If your screen is small, you might be struggling with seeing this. Now if you really want to analyze the candle so well on the lowest time frame, then I suggest you check on a 1 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame. Yeah, just depends, but I don't know what details we'll see, but normally that is what I normally use. But as we can see from this market is still moving. You might think that this market, because it is already in our zone here, it might be actually be coming back, but that is not the truth. You can see that this market is still moving up. This market is still moving up. So this downside you see here is still a suggestion that unless we get something that is going to be around this area, that is going to show us that indeed this market is going to be down. And what are we going to be getting in case this market actually moves that is below this? So in case we get this market moving that is below this price that you see here, let me show you. In case we get this price is moving in below this one, you see, up to this place here, so that is below these candles that you see here, and also below our target region that you see around this area here. So in case this market actually moves below that, that is below this one, that is now when we confirm that is indeed this market is going to reverse from that zone. And when we get this market actually candle closing below this, and probably we get another candle just coming a little bit here, or maybe now we start getting this kind of closing. You can see this candle that has actually formed this one. You see this one? So if we get this actually closing below this, and or maybe all of it just closes below this candle that you see here, then the next candle that you're going to get probably moving almost to cross this area here, then we are going to sell all the way to that 3, or maybe when it's going to break this, but it's going to be long one, because we are going to all the way. Let me show you the area that we'll be targeting, and those are scenarios I'm giving you. They are very important, because you are going to sell almost all the way to 32.70, 32.60. So it's going to be a long one. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on, a sell in case this candle closes here. So the candle that is going to be formed here is going to be very vital, that you can see here. That is what I'm talking about. This candle here, you see, I hope you can see it. This candle that you see here is very vital, very important, that is forming here. This is very important. You see this one? This is very important. Otherwise, this market is actually moving up. This market is just moving up. This market is moving up. Unless we get that one, that is when we're going to get a signal to 1,000. But because now this market has achieved our levels, we're gonna not try to buy here, although this is actually a buy signal that is here. But because one thing that we said is this region is going to be important, and you can see this market is does not really have that power. There is buyers and sellers who are struggling, or maybe fighting a lot across these areas. You can see buyers trying to push the market, sellers coming in, buyers, and it's happening so fast. So in between this fight, because you can see now actually buying from this market will actually be more valid, but it's because now the reason we are not going to buy is because now it has actually come to our reversal zone where we were targeting on, and that's why now we are going to hold to see what is going to unfold here. So I know now you understand my theory. It's very simple. It's very simple here. That is just a very simple theory that I'm talking about here. Now this region we said yesterday, I'm going to repeat again, this region we said again yesterday is going to be very important, because this market will be achieving this, might be getting a very big reversal. But remember, we said this market actually might And in case you see this market actually reversing to all the way to 14, just know that the gold is starting to change and is actually falling, and the trap is falling. Okay, not actually not in even our trap, but actually it means that we are really following on what gold is showing us, and doing a good signal because of what you are saying. But right here, what we can see right now from this place is the market that is trying to move up. Now this is going to be very important here to see how this market is going to move. So, and I expect this market actually to just not create another high, but in case it moves up, then it's going to reverse from 20. This is actually 28 and still move down. That is what I expect from this market. But for a sell that we're going to create, for the reason is I already told you, there is that we cannot buy. There's a signal from that candle that is forming right now to buy, but you're not going to buy because it is still in our region for a considerable sell that is going to be happening from this market. And the other thing is, we cannot sell from that market. We cannot buy from that market, and we cannot sell because now you can see the market is still very young. It's very young actually to just consider that. Having a buy signal from there is tricky if you just do that until we get confirmation. Until we get now a confirmation. Trust me, even if it was yesterday, I could not have entered from that point. Even if it was yesterday, I would not have entered from that point. So where is my point for negotiations is actually here. So you see below this candle here, that is what is going to make me change my mind to know that it didn't. I'm going to move down. But in case now we print prices above this, or maybe above this, then is actually a very nice thing, because now the gold is going to probably go and achieve higher prices. I want to go to something I mentioned yesterday. I don't want to confuse you, and I really want to say this again. When you go to the lowest time frame, when you go to the highest time frame, and inside our trend here, or now the market has been moving, inside of how the market has been moving, I want us to go to the zero. It's like I'm taking you to zero. That was gear 5. Now we are going to gear 1. Okay. I want you to take you to zero. Of why I'm really talking about this, because now this market, we might actually buy or sell today for a long term, and it's going to depend on what the prices we're going to get. And again, today becomes very important day. This is very important actually. If you watch this, I want you to listen to me very, very careful on this. Okay, I'm gonna even mute the microphone, the sound, so that I can be clear on this. I want to actually do everything to be silent, so that you cannot be confused. Okay, just listen. Just listen to me on this. It's very important. Now, you see, let's go back to another time frame. When you go to 1 hour time frame, you see a breakout. Okay, and that's why we have probabilities of this market might be start moving down, all the way down, and breaking, and probably creating this. That is very valid, and that's why we have created a possible of break of this and break of this. In case you achieve this, then it means that we are going down, and that is what we are going to trend here, because we are really allowing this market to, is just giving the market room to move. So we are going to give the gold prices a room to move. And we were for this market now to come this area here, it has to confirm that indeed we are coming to this area here. That is the first scenario here that we have. But I want you to, when we go to highest time frame, we are going to see something very different. We are going to see something very different, which changes everything. You You see, this market is actually moving up. Is moving up. That's why I'm talking about this part here, because it's going to confirm whether we are moving down or it's continuing moving up. And once we get another high here, it means that we might be getting higher prices. So even 34, that's possible. Possibilities, 35 possibilities. So, and one thing that you're going to give yourself to the market, don't stick to one thing, just allow things to move. Have scenarios that the way I just give you all the scenarios here on how the market actually can do, in case, because all directions are possible, but you're gonna have limitations. Like when this market does this, is going to, this is what can actually happen. Of course the market can do anything, so you actually have to expect that. Now that's why I'm talking about this area here. Now when you look at that market on the lowest time frame, you're going to see that indeed this market might be coming down, but we're gonna have at least these prices coming and breaking and candles closing below 14 here. That is important. But I want you to give you a possibility for this market. This is the market that we saw actually moving down below this. But let me tell you one thing. When it comes to the trend, because all our trend actually we are measuring on this trend, a very strong one. It's very simple. When we go to highest time frame, and I mean the highest time frame, not daily time frame, not 4-hour time frame, not, is actually weekly time frame. When we go to the weekly time frame, using the same trend, because this trend line is valid still on the weekly time frame, as you can see here, this becomes very strong. So you can actually base all your analysis inside this. Very strong one. You can see all these touches here. And yet we have this. Just look at this. I want to really to remove everything here so that we can see again. I want to give you this scenario. That's why I muted the hound here, so that you cannot get confused. Allow me to once we are done with this, you'll now understand. Did we go to the horror play? That crazy? Okay. All these drawings were the ones that you can see how they become small when you go to the highest time frame. There's someone who actually have never, I know most of you actually hamjai hata fungua like weekly time frame, sindio? Ujai hata shughulika na hiyo kitu, unaonanga tu hii ni ujinga. And kuna mtu aliniambia tu anaendanga tu kwa 1 minute time frame, aona tu market ikimove. Kienda one like weekly time frame, unaona ni kama market moves. So you want to go where the market is moving. Sounds crazy, lakini you are going to suffer long. So if you're going to concentrate like on candles, or you're going to concentrate like on the gold, you're gonna learn like long term. You're gonna have long term goals, short term goals. Hizo vitu lazima ukuwe nazo. I want you to see this. Nataka uangalie hii uone. Just look at this. Allow me to go back to that. Looking at this area here, the last time we saw like this was actually a breakout, but just look at this on a weekly time frame. Okay, this look like a breakout that we saw actually on the 1 hour time frame. Do you see this? Does this really look like a breakout? This one, this actually look like testing the candle that is actually here. And that's why you see this market is actually still on the uptrend. Gold is still moving up, and for a long time is actually going to move long up. Okay, that is now what we are getting from this market. It's crazy. But there's one thing that actually The reason we saw what we saw on the lowest time frame, just understand this. The reason we saw what we saw on the lowest time frame, nawachanganya, sindio? The reason we saw what we saw on the lowest time frame is because of this candle. Just look at this one, and this one. So all these are confirming that this market is on down, is moving down. Just look at this. This candle formed below this, opened here and closed below that. This one, although just opened here and closed higher, but I can see actually it tested towards the downside, and that's why you see a possible candle for this to move all the way below this. Highly likely. But when you actually check this clearly and assume this is just a touches, or maybe because this is daily time frame and not that much accurate, and just assume things were not that accurate, just like that. Of course, when you draw these things, you don't expect them to be 100% sure. Then when you look at this carefully, you see the market that is moving just like this. Look at that, creating high highs and a retracement for this, and probably when this candle start moving, it's going to move all the way to this point here. So do you see that? That is where now this time frame come from. And that's why we are creating what we are saying here are possible scenarios for the market to move up, and a possible scenario of, in case this market achieved this, then we are going to do this. In case this market touches this, then we are going to do this. Now look at this weekly time frame. Is crazy here. Okay, I think it's almost the same with the daily time frame. Just look at this. Daily time frame shows the same. Just look at the daily time frame on how this market is moving. I know some people are wondering, who is this? Someone just doing this and using trend lines. Very simple. Very simple here. Very simple. Just look at that, and this market that we're seeing here, look at this and this one, and you can see the candles that are actually forming here is still a sign that indeed this market might be moving up. And remember, the reason we saying this market is actually might be moving to 3290s is because we wanted to buy from the retracement fight of this. You can go to Monday analysis and check this. But now you can see this market is trying to move up from this, and that's why there's possibilities for it maybe to create a new high of that 370 there. But don't forget of what we have created right on our 1 hour time frame scenario. I'm really confusing you today, but I really see it very simple. It's very simple. All you just have to do is just watch. You just have to watch and see how things are really going to, how the really things are going to unfold on the lowest time frame, because that is where what we normally check on the daily time frame. Because if you keep watching this on the daily time frame here, they're going to confuse you a lot. That's where we are saying a possible for the market to keep moving just like that and continue move up is highly likely if we send what we send on the lowest time frame. And it's really possible again for this market to shift downwards, because you see on the weekly time frame, you can see those candles and lining, and it's still on downside are likely also. So, but still what I see, this market broke out this, but still there's high likelihood that this market is still on the uptrend, as you can see on the daily time frame and the weekly time frame. So it's crazy how really gold is moving. But on the remember what we saying here. So you see the reason. Okay, I'll say that again because I'll not say that. Just look at this. That is how the market is just moving this way on uptrend. So the candle that is going to be closing here in the next 30 minutes here is then going to close below this, or is it going to close here? So if you can close above this white line here, then high likelihood that this market is still moving up and going to achieve higher prices, highly likely. And in case we blow this, then there's likelihood that we are going to move all the way down. So those are the possibilities that we put on the table to keep watching. And that is where the gold is actually placing us right now. That is where it is placing us right now. That is where it is placing us. displacing up to something just like that. But there's more details. There's more detailed information about this. There is even more. There is even more. But don't want to give you more of this to end up confusing you. Because we can combine these with the economic factors, we can combine these with a lot of things. And you can see actually this region that we really talked about, the reason I said about 16, the reason about 16 and 20 TP, you can see that. And also on Monday, you remember me talking about 38, and the market just went slightly 45. And then we started seeing the drop all the way to 32.80. So again, you can see how these prices are reacting towards that price. So let's just watch on this, and then that is what I have today. So I might not give you an instant signal. Forgive me about that. Yeah, so that is what I have on my mind. So that is what we have tonight. Let's just watch and see. I'll be analyzing currencies, but as well, I'll be giving signals on the VIP group and also the signals for the GOND on the VIP group on that scenario. These things that we really observe here. So in case maybe you'll be interested to join the VIP signal, my number will be right there. So those who I gave out my number yesterday, I'll give again, so that we see you again out there. When I'm we are going to analyze this and get a proper good signal here on these scenarios that we have created here, and then I'll share the signal because I'm really organizing this good one. So yeah, so my number is there. I'll see you later. I think tomorrow or maybe later when I see something unfolding clear here, so that at least we see how this market is going to do. Have a good day. I don't have much to say tonight. So that's my wrap up. So follow me on all social media platforms at Dantech. What do you have to say? Let me just know if you have any question. Leave it quickly on the chat before I close this down. So I think the possible for this market to move up is crazy. A possibility for this market to keep moving up, likelihood. But in case this market moves below 13, then might be getting a sell signal from there. So that is going to be good. It's challenging, but you have to be all right. That's why you see normally we get on spot snipers entry, because you observe very clearly before you say we are buying, then we buy something that is clear. I think there is no question, so I'm going to close this down and I'll see you again. I'll see you again later. For those who joining VIP signals, we are creating that. I think I want people to take serious my signals. I've never done this before, but I'm going to make sure that those who are going to be joining this, I'm going really to benefit a lot from this one. So have a good day. I'm signing out, and I will see you again any time zone. Subscribe and turn on notification bell so that when I just come live anytime, you'll be notified here on the YouTube.